Waking up one day and realizing that your thoughts, your choices, even your deepest beliefs were never truly yours. What if I told you that right now you might be under some form of mind control and you don't even know it? From cult leaders to governments, advertisers to social media influencers, mind control techniques have been used for centuries to manipulate people. But how does it actually work? And more importantly, are you being controlled? Let's start with something simple: suggestion. Ever heard of the placebo effect? That's when people experience real changes just because they believe something is happening. But it goes deeper than just medicine. In the 1950s, a psychologist named Solomon Asch conducted an experiment to test conformity. He brought in a group of people, showed them a set of lines, and asked them to identify the longest one. The trick? Most of the participants were actors, instructed to give the wrong answer. Shockingly, the real participants went along with the wrong answer most of the time, just because everyone else did. This is the power of suggestion at work. It shapes how we see ourselves and the world around us. It's the same principle behind hypnosis. Hypnotists don't control minds, but they guide people into suggestibility, where they're more likely to accept commands. Studies show that in deep hypnosis, people's brains behave differently, almost as if the body is on autopilot while the subconscious mind is fully open to external influence. Think about the last time you watched a really convincing ad. Did you suddenly crave that product? That's suggestion in action. But what if suggestion isn't enough? What if someone needs more than just a nudge? That's where manipulation turns into something darker, something more dangerous. Let's talk about psychological conditioning. One of the most famous cases is Pavlov's dogs. In the early 1900s, Russian scientist Ivan Pavlov discovered that he could train dogs to salivate at the sound of a bell simply by associating it with food. This is called classical conditioning, and it doesn't just work on dogs, it works on people too. Advertisers use this technique all the time. Ever notice how luxury brands always pair their products with images of wealth, beauty, and success? They're conditioning you to associate their brand with status so that when you see that logo, you feel something, even if you don't realize why. But advertisers don't use conditioning, they also use scarcity. Limited time offers, exclusive releases, only a few left in stock messages. They're designed to make you feel like you have to act immediately. And the more we feel that something is rare, the more valuable it seems. And it doesn't stop there. Ever heard of the Milgram experiment? In 1961, psychologist Stanley Milgram wanted to test how far people would go in obeying authority. Participants were instructed to deliver what they thought were electric shocks to another person whenever they answered a question incorrectly. With each wrong answer, the voltage increased. The person being shocked, an actor, would scream in pain, beg for the experiment to stop, even pretend to pass out. And yet, most participants kept going, just because an authority figure in a lab coat told them to. They weren't forced, they could stop at any time, and yet, they didn't. This experiment revealed something terrifying. Under the right circumstances, ordinary people will follow orders, even when it goes against their morals. It's the same psychology used in high pressure sales tactics, interrogation techniques, even extremist groups. And the scary part? This method isn't just used in experiments. Ever wondered why military training is so intense? It's designed to break down individual thought and replace it with obedience to authority. This isn't necessarily a bad thing. Structure is important in the military, but the same principles can be used in less ethical ways. Take cults, for example. In the 1960s and 70s, a group called the Children of God recruited young people by offering them love, community, and spiritual guidance. But once inside, members were isolated from their families, controlled through fear and guilt, and forced to follow strict rules. It was brainwashing in its purest form, breaking down a person's identity and replacing it with total submission. So, how does brainwashing actually work? The key techniques are repetition, isolation, and emotional manipulation. If you only hear one side of a story over and over again, you eventually start believing it. If you're cut off from opposing viewpoints, you have no way of challenging what you're told. And if you're emotionally exhausted, you're less likely to resist. It's no coincidence that people who are sleep deprived or constantly stressed are more susceptible to manipulation. But here's the thing, you don't need to be in a cult to be manipulated. Modern mind control is happening every time you open your phone. Ever noticed how social media feeds show you exactly what you want to see? Algorithms track your behavior and reinforce your existing beliefs, trapping you in an echo chamber. And it works, because when we see the same message repeated enough, we start believing it. So, what's happening inside your brain? Mind control techniques exploit basic psychology. Fear and anxiety are major tools of manipulation. When people are scared, they're more likely to seek authority and follow orders. This is why fear based news headlines get more clicks. They trigger a fight or flight response, making you more susceptible to persuasion. So, how do you fight back? The first step is awareness. Expose yourself to different opinions. If you only read one type of news, you're in an echo chamber. Take control of your attention. Social media thrives on distraction. Be mindful of what content you consume and why. And most importantly, develop critical thinking skills. Mind control isn't just a conspiracy, it's real, it's happening, and it's affecting all of us in ways we don't even realize. But the more we understand it, the more power we have to break free. If you found this video eye-opening, make sure to like, share, and subscribe.